They provide structural scaffolding of a tissue or organ. And that means they're responsible for the framework of the organ. If you think about a movie, in a movie you have your key actors, your movie stars, and then you have supporting actors. Connective tissue is more like the supporting actors. Connective tissue does not perform the main function of that tissue. Okay? It simply provides support. It may serve, for instance, as the mattress upon which other more important cells sit. That function is called a stroma. So when tissue forms the support for other cells or tissues, we say that that tissue is the stroma. Whereas the main functional tissue is referred to as the parenchyma. I haven't looked this up. Can somebody look parenchyma up? Parenchyma. Oh no, it's Y. This is it. I think that's it. Look it up. It's Parenchyma. Enchyma. So the parenchyma, if you look at an organ, the parenchyma is the functional tissue, the stroma is the support tissue. And the stroma is typically made up of connective tissue. Another function of connective tissue is mechanical support and protection within the body. Think about, for instance, how the bones of the ribs protect the heart, the lungs. The skull protects the brain. Our bones and cartilage support us when we stand or walk. Another function of connective tissue is to attach or bind one type of tissue to another. For example, tendons bind muscle to bone. Ligaments bind bones together. Subcutaneous tissue binds the skin to the underlying muscle. Another function of connective tissue is to store energy. Adipose tissue, which is composed mostly of fat cells, represents a storage form of energy. Connective tissue serves for immune protection. Connective tissue contains a host of different cells, including white blood cells, that attempt to maintain sterility within the body. Sterility means the absence of infection. And we know that connective tissue serves as a diffusion medium for the transport of gases and nutrients. So for instance, the lamina propria, which is a type of connective tissue, allows gases and nutrients to diffuse up into the epithelium. Let's look at some characteristics. You said there are 4 types of tissue: epithelium, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. Well, connective tissue is the most abundant. It's vascular, meaning it contains blood vessels. That's unlike epithelium. Epithelium doesn't. Epithelium is avascular. Whereas epithelium is crowded with cells. There's an abundance of cells within epithelium. In connective tissue, the cells are more widely scattered, and there's proportionately more extracellular matrix. Extracellular matrix is the stuff between cells. So this is the opposite of epithelium. Furthermore, whereas epithelium occurs on free surfaces, epithelium lines, connective tissue does not occur on free surfaces. Okay, it generally occurs deep to surfaces. There are a number of different classification systems for connective tissue. This is the one we're going to use. You have on the left-hand column connective tissue proper. On the right-hand column, specialized types of connective tissue. Connective tissue proper includes loose or real connective tissue, dense connective tissue, in which there are two types, elastic connective tissue, reticular connective tissue, and adipose tissue. Now, some folks will classify adipose with the specialized forms, but we're going to include it in the left column. Specialized forms of connective tissue include cartilage, of which there are three types, bone, and blood. The basic components of connective tissue are cells and the stuff between cells. We call the stuff between cells extracellular matrix. And that extracellular matrix consists of a ground substance and protein fibers. So if we're looking at connective tissue, generally the cells are more widely spaced, and the other stuff between is extracellular matrix. Within that extracellular matrix, you're going to see fibers, and the space between fibers is made up of ground substance. Okay. We're going to look at the major cell types within connective tissue proper. Specialized connective tissue has its own unique types of cells. The most common type of cell within connective tissue is the fibroblast. If you see the suffix blast, it means that that cell is active in synthesis. So fibroblasts are the cells within connective tissue that synthesize fibers and the surrounding ground substance.